My wife has been so helpful in so many ways for so long, and she's noticed that when I eat whatever little it is, and then I go into the sitting room, that gets her upset because she could see that I'm just sitting like a lump and really doing nothing, and she says, I feel like I'm alone now. You don't spend time with me discussing anything or doing anything. Like, and the other day she said, let's just go out to lunch. Now, I know we can't go in certain restaurants. There are bans on that. But what if we just go to one and sit outside where they're allowing people who are further enough away? Well, that was her idea of trying to help me, but it was way too scary for me. Going outside, I got my mask on and just sitting near people and, even people cooking the food. I don't know, it just scares me at this point. It's just, I have not been able to overcome that yet. I can't get over that hurdle.
Yeah.
It's almost like I'm waiting for that little doctor that always showed up with Trump on the news to say, okay, everybody, coast is clear, and everybody can go out and do something. That's almost kind of like what I'm expecting,
And also there's that sense that that's never going to happen.
Right.
In the back of your mind.
It's like, I'm waiting for that to happen, but I know it's not going to happen. So where am I going? I'm in a funk.
Yeah. You're really running a race without the finish line.
Right. I'm running and running. I'm running and running, but there's no finish tape,
Yeah. Yeah. And two things I hear and with your that story about your wife is, one, that you really feel the love from her, of her wanting to really make you feel comfortable, and two, you still have this fear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you've shared a lot with me, and you mentioned how it sort of, released some or lightened the weight on your shoulders, on your chest a bit.
Yes.
How do you speak like the way you're speaking with me to your wife or to other people where it feels the same way?
It's real hard. I don't, being a New York male for my generation, way back when, it was always very hard to open up and express emotion to certain types of people, your wife, your girlfriend, certain friends. The only time that I really felt comfortable expressing any kind of emotion to would be if it was a therapist, or one or two I've talked to in my whole life. That was it. But opening up like I'm talking to you with most other people, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's not something deliberate that I'm deliberately not doing. You don't realize it. Maybe today's kid, maybe my grandson will be different. Hopefully he will.
Yeah. It sounds like it was kind of a cultural thing, that this is kind of how you grew up. And the other piece is those that you feel can give you guidance in certain areas. Those are the people who you feel most comfortable with opening up deeper to.
Correct. Very true. Very true.
So how much of, what's your wife's name? Can I ask her name?
Anne.
So when you speak with Anne, have you spoken, in the past few months at the level you're speaking to me now with Anne? Asking about how Jay speaks with his wife Anne is a very intentional question as I progress through the tasks of making plans and then obtaining commitment. Earlier, you heard me reinforce Jay's love and adoration for Anne by way of reflections. I plan on using these positive feelings to reinforce her as a support system or as a protective factor. Again, it is much easier to activate a support that is already embedded and trustworthy rather than trying to find new sources of support. As this section continues, you will see me working with two stages of the hybrid model concurrently as I move towards closing the session, providing support and examining alternatives. Although the goal is to move through the 7 tasks of the hybrid model in a single session, counselors may find themselves exploring more than one at a time, sometimes out of order, and even going back and repeating tasks addressed earlier. Like most models in psychology, the stages here are not meant to be rigidly sequential, and although flexibility on the part of the therapist is always an important quality, this is especially the case in crisis counseling.